We've all been there. You're sitting at a table, you turn a little too quickly, and whack! You bump your elbow against the edge. But instead of a normal, dull ache, a sudden, blinding jolt of electricity shoots all the way down your arm, leaving your fingers tingling and your whole body cringing. It's a completely bizarre sensation. We call it hitting your funny bone, but in the moment, there is absolutely nothing funny about it. So what is actually happening inside your arm? Why does a tiny bump produce a reaction that feels like you just stuck your finger in a light socket? Welcome to Simple Things Surprising Histories. Today, we're answering a question we've all felt but rarely understood. Why does hitting your elbow feel like an electric shock? To understand this shocking sensation, we first have to uncover a massive anatomical lie. The funny bone isn't a bone at all. It is actually a nerve, specifically the ulnar nerve. Think of your nervous system as a high-speed fiber optic network running through your body, carrying electrical signals from your brain to your fingertips. The ulnar nerve is one of the main cables in this system. It originates up in your neck, travels down your shoulder, runs the entire length of your arm, and ends in your hand, specifically controlling your pinky finger and half of your ring finger. For the vast majority of its journey, this incredibly important nerve is heavily armored. It's tucked safely deep beneath layers of thick muscle and sturdy bone, shielded from the bumps and bruises of everyday life. But right at the elbow, this heavy armor suddenly disappears. When the ulnar nerve reaches your elbow, it has to pass through a very tight space called the cubital tunnel. Here, it wraps around a knobby piece of bone called the medial epicondyle. But here is the major design flaw in our anatomy. At this exact turning point, the nerve is protected by almost nothing. There is no muscle, there is no thick tissue, just a thin layer of skin and a tiny bit of fat. When you hit your elbow at just the wrong angle, you are essentially crushing the ulnar nerve directly against the hard, unyielding bone underneath. Because nerves communicate using electrical impulses, this sudden aggressive compression creates an immediate overload. It's exactly like stepping on a high-voltage cable. Your brain instantly receives a chaotic traffic jam of warning signals, and because the ulnar nerve controls your lower fingers, that electrical shock doesn't just stay in your elbow, it shoots straight down your forearm and out through your pinky. So, if it's actually the ulnar nerve, why on earth do we call it the funny bone? The term first started appearing in the English language in the 1800s, and historians point to two fascinating reasons. The first is simply the bizarre nature of the pain. It's a weird, tingling, peculiar sensation that simply feels funny compared to a normal bruise or a scratch. But the second reason is actually one of medical history's greatest puns. The long bone in your upper arm, which the ulnar nerve runs closely alongside, is medically known as the humerus. Over time, people simply couldn't resist the wordplay. A bump to the nerve resting on the humerus bone gave you a strange feeling. Therefore, it became the funny bone. Fortunately, while the shock is incredibly intense, it is completely harmless. The electric jolt fades within minutes as the nerve recovers and the electrical signals return to normal. The next time you slam your elbow and feel that familiar spark, just remember you didn't hit a bone, you just temporarily short-circuited your arm's internal wiring. Thank you for watching Simple Things Surprising Histories. If you learned something new today, hit that like button, share this video with a friend who always hits their elbow, and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories behind the simple things in our world. See you next time.